Hey everybody.
Hey, Professor.
What's up, buddy? Make sure not you, Rami, but everybody else, make sure you turn your cameras and your microphones on. Hey Naomi.
How you doing, Professor?
Who's that? That's Daniel. How you doing?
Yeah, hold on 1 second.
How was your weekend?
Weekend was good.
How was your fast?
Oh, it was horrible.
Really?
Yeah. I don't usually do it for the holiday. That was one of the first times I did it.
Oh, I see. I got it.
How was yours?
It was good. I slept the whole day.
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah.
It's when you
Yeah,
get
it
up
gets
really early and you're working throughout the day that the fast is really hard.
You're not really technically supposed to, but
No, I don't mean working, you're right, but just like moving around and being awake, it's hard.
oh yeah. Yeah. The time goes really slow.
Yes.
That's how it feels when I fast. I'm Muslim and I fast for Ramadan, and like to do it consistently day in, day out, it is the most hard thing you can do. And then you gotta stuff calories into you at
Yeah,
night,
like
Well,
and
I,
morning,
you feel
right? Before the
sick.
sunrise.
I don't do that, no, because then I
Yeah.
just feel like I'm so bloated.
Oh, okay, I see.
Abibatu,
I'll
do
just
you also fast for Ramadan
Yes, I do.
for 30 days?
Yes.
God bless you. I
Do you
tried to
think you
do it
could
for
do it?
one afternoon for the Jewish holiday. I'm not even religious. I don't consider myself religious. I tried to just see if I had the mental stamina to do it, and I was complaining by 11 o'clock.
Oh,
I
It
took
It's
my
really
first
does.
difficult, but
midterm.
I
at the
think
end
like
of the month, like at the maybe at the beginning of the months, it's hard, but after you used to do it.
it's something interesting though, I think like people that are not religious can benefit from something like fasting because I feel like it gives you a certain understanding of yourself and also just an appreciation for what you really need in life, which is a really good reminder. Um, all right, Ada, Jay, Simone, Miranda, Max, Justin, make sure you guys have your microphones on.
What are we doing for midterms? You still haven't figured that out, or no?
Is it midterms already?
I
yeah.
took my first midterm for math.
Yeah, me too.
I did pretty well. I got like a B.
Well,
Nice.
Still
so
not good
that's
enough.
a good question. So one, if you guys have checked the assignments or the discussion board lately, I recently put on kind of a major assignment called it's like a playlist.
Oh yeah, I saw
That
that.
will essentially be the midterm. So I'm going to talk about that at the end of class today.
Okay.
So we're supposed to pick, like I read it, we were supposed to pick like our music and stuff.
Yeah, you know what? We can talk
Are we
about it right
doing
now. We
that?
might as well. So let's all
All
pull it
right.
up. I can hear another teacher talking. Or
Yeah,
somebody.
someone. My roommate has a class right now too.
Yeah, whoever is that is, please turn it off. There we go. All right, let me just pull up the assignment. Okay, so it's in the discussion board if you take a look.
Yeah.
And so you can upload it right into there. And so it says pick 4 songs that reflect some of your different moods and perspectives, right? So if we think about that in the context of the different reading, right? The first 3 readings in class that we've read all kind of deal with perspective and how you choose to look at the world, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to try to think about your moods throughout a day or a week. And this is going to require you to be, it requires some levels of self-awareness that you kind of monitor your mood, right? Or even kind of watch it through the music you listen to, right? If you're listening to like a certain kind of level of high intensity music all the time, maybe it reflects you being kind of intense or anxious. Or if you're listening to mellow music, maybe it's also because you're anxious, you're trying to mellow out. So just try to think about the type of music you listen to and maybe think about your moods, right? Because there's not one mood. We shift through these many different moods throughout the day, throughout the week, and things like that. maybe you listen to like rock and roll or heavy metal, or you like jazz. So think about it in terms of that. And you're going to keep a list of songs, right? So you'll just you could start it in a notebook, and you write down the song and the name of the musician or the band, rapper, whatever. And then what you're going to do is from each song, you'll take one line of lyrics. So you're also going to have to go on the internet, find the lyrics for the song, and pick one line from each of those 4 songs that kind of reflect a mood that you are in either throughout the week or, throughout a day, or a song that kind of reflects a level of your identity or something like that. Right? And then you're going to basically analyze the lyric. So you're essentially going to break down the lyric like you would any kind of interpretation. You're going to explain what you think the line means and how it kind of relates to your idea of the song, the theme, and why you chose it. Right? So you'll do that for each song. So you'll have 4 paragraphs in total, plus you'll create an introduction paragraph. Well, you'll just talk about the songs and their different perspectives and why you chose them. So it's not really like an essay in the sense that you're going to have like a main thesis. You're just kind of putting together a bunch of paragraphs where you're interpreting one specific line from a song.
And how are you scoring it? You're scoring it how well the grammar is, how deep it is.
Just your overall depth of analysis, how much you're willing to break down the line, how much effort you put into it. Definitely grammar, punctuation, that stuff is always important. And then this is going to set us up going forward into like the first essay. Well, we're going to talk about thesis statements and all of that. So these kind of writings have been leading us up. They're a little more informal, but they're going to lead us up to writing a big paper. So I wanted to give this to you guys as a midterm because I thought it might be a bit of a reprieve. You might actually enjoy the writing process, right? Because I think that's really one of the ways to get better at writing, if you're not a fan of it, is to write about things you're interested about. Right? One thing, hopefully, I have a friend, he's a really good friend of mine. I might have talked about him before. He doesn't like music.
You talked about it one time.
Serial killer in the making, right, Jay? Yeah. So I think one thing we can all really respond to passionately is the music we listen to. So hopefully it's an opportunity.
I like listening to music.
He's dead inside. He has no soul.
He's the man with the iron heart, basically.
He has no heart. He's empty inside. It's just like it's empty.
That's what the man with the iron heart is.
Nothing but emptiness.
That's what it is, basically.
Right. And because I kind of forgot. I think the due date is. Let me double check.
I think you put on the 9th.
Yeah.
Yo, Daniel, did you start your first reaction paper for religion?
Yeah, so we'll be due Friday, October 9th.
Next Friday, you said, right?
Is that next Friday? Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's already the end of September. It's crazy. Yeah, so that's next Friday.
Yeah. I got a first reaction paper to write for religions class.
Wait,
to October 4th.
That's crazy. I mean, the semester's moving right along. It's crazy how it flies.
It's better than high school because high school is just so monotonous and like it's just you hate it.
Yeah. Are there any questions about the playlists?
No, it seems straightforward.
Yeah, I mean, one way you could look at it is, each day you choose a song, right? Over the next couple of days, you just choose a song, you put it in your notebook, and maybe think about the mood and the theme and how it relates to kind of a perspective you have about the world.
I've been on this trend lately, just listening to heavy metal and rock for some reason. I always kind of been like house, techno music. I was into that, but now I'm just into this like rock phase where like I'm just listening to it like almost like 24/7.
You know what, Rami? This is actually good. Let's go through the class. Naomi, what have you been listening? What's in your playlist right now? I'm sorry?
I listen to rap. I don't really listen to anything else.
You listen to rap? Give me a rapper you listen to. Who?
Pop Smoke.
To
I can't hear you.
Pop Smoke. She said Pop Smoke.
Pop Smoke. What an interesting name.
The man's dead.
Okay, Ada, talk to me. Who are you listening to right now?
I listen to like a bunch of different things. Like I listen to rap, but like I listen to like more like relaxing music too, but like mainly rap, honestly.
Isn't that
Like
funny?
Pop Smoke and A Boogie.
I gotta look up this Pop Smoke. That's a great name.
I don't listen to A Boogie. He lives in my neighborhood.
Really?
Yeah.
So he's your neighbor.
Yeah, pretty much.
Or like Khalid too. I like him. He's a good singer.
All right. Jay, talk to me.
Recently I've noticed that I've been listening to The Weeknd a lot.
Oh shit. So you've been really feeling yourself. You know what? I went to go visit my mom one summer and she was singing The Weeknd. It was very uncomfortable.
Was it continuous or?
It was just
kind of
not
like a
appropriate language for a mother to be singing in front of her son.
Good though.
But it's interesting the power that music has over us, especially something like right, we're all from the generation of hip hop. Rap and hip hop is usually kind of like the most popular music of our day. It's
Yeah.
interesting the kind of the mood it puts you in because it really makes you feel like you're better than everybody else. And it makes you feel like you're a drug dealer and it makes you feel like you're a gangster. And that's a good feeling to have. It's so much confidence. Right, Jay?
Yeah.
All right, Simone, talk to me.
I kind of listen to all music too, like pop and all that stuff.
What do you feel like you listen to the most? Or like, what do you find yourself on repeat?
I like Harry Styles. His
Harry
music.
Styles. Okay,
Listen to him a lot.
that's cool. Miranda.
I'm also into like all like types of music and stuff, but recently I've been like listening to like 60s and stuff.
Music from the 60s?
Yeah.
Interesting. Like who?
Frankie Avalon.
That's awesome.
80s,
That's not
90s music was the best.
That's not like the 60s hippie music that most people think of. That's kind of like, that's wonderful. It's lovely music. Really nice. Itzy, talk to me.
I've been listening to like a lot of Tame Impala.
Tame Impala is wonderful.
Yeah.
Very chill and relaxing, right? Yeah. Max, something tells me you're a 21 Savage guy.
Nah, I mean, I like my favorite rappers are probably Fabio Foreign, No Cap, and then I like a lot of like my mom and me listen to like a lot of like soul type music. I like Benny King, like Blue Magic, Temptations.
Oh, that's my
Then-
jams right there. The Temptations,
Yeah,
Four
yeah.
Tops.
And then I also like classical music. I like Debussy and Beethoven. Just 'cause my
Oh, nice.
dad
You got
likes that type of
you have a
stuff.
wide range.
I mean, like I feel like some like classical songs are like the best because like they have no words and it's like bring
So
the
much
most
feeling.
emotion. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like yeah.
Isn't that that's really tripped me out how much emotion and feeling you can put into a song with no words. Right? And
Yeah, like
kind
Claire de
of,
Lune.
say
Claire
it
de Lune
again?
Claire de Lune, the song could
Yeah.
make me cry and doesn't have any words.
Yeah.
Like literally, like it's crazy.
And Beethoven's Fifth makes you want to punch someone in the mouth.
Yeah.
Right? But
Yeah.
also it makes you want to wear tights and dance around.
I don't think nobody wants to wear tights and dance around.
You know, another interesting point, Max, if anyone is a real hip hop head or likes or loves rap music, it kind of draws you into studying the beat and how all the beats come from soul music.
Yeah, no, a lot of the beats are like, I mean, there's sample beats and there's also just like, yeah, they take stuff from all that type of music. Like hip hop is just taking from other types of music. You know what I mean? The beat is the main part of the hip hop.
It's the most beautiful form of cultural appropriation.
Yeah.
Okay, Justin, talk to me.
Really, it depends on my mood. Recently, I've been like into like a lot of like Frank Ocean, a lot
Frank
of like
Ocean's
Travis
awesome.
Scott.
Yeah.
But if it's like, yeah, it just depends on my mood. So like, let's say I'm like kind of like in a down mood, maybe I'll just like go to like some like 80s like Stevie Wonder or something, or Michael Jackson.
That's if you're really feeling yourself.
Yeah.
If you can listen to Michael Jackson and not move your hips, that's
There's something wrong with you.
impressive. Because when I put Michael Jackson on, I just start grooving. Abibatu.
Like most of the time, it's depend of my mood. I'm not really a music person for real,
Oh
so
my God, you're also hollow inside?
I don't know. So
Not even classical or music without lyrics?
maybe Senegalese music.
Okay.
I like that sometimes.
Well, Senegalese music there's a lot of Senegalese music that's almost like Afro-Cuban jazz. It's very funky. That also makes you want to dance.
Yes.
All right, and Daniel.
I like rap. I really like a lot, but like recently, I've been listening to like Frank Sinatra and rap, kind of like mixing it up.
That's a nice balance.
Yeah.
Yeah. You ever like think about if you grew up in the 80s, like instead of rap, you'd probably listen to like punk rock or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And you'd have like a mohawk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe not the mohawk, but like yeah, I feel that.
Okay.
So you grew up in the 80s, right? Or you're a 90s
Me?
kid? Yeah.
I'm only 32. I grew up in the 2000s. So I'm not that far off from you guys.
Yeah.
Here's one last resource for you guys. If you're in the music, that is a really cool website. I found that when I'm like really trying to engage in like intense study, I like listening to music from either like different genres or different languages, because if it's in English, it's hard to concentrate. This website, if you click on it, it takes you to like a map of the world, and you can listen to music from different parts of the world in different decades. It's pretty cool. All right, so go ahead, Rami. What's up?
Do you ever listen to like 90s, early 2000s house music? Like club music, basically.
No, I'm more of a hip hop guy. I like rap.
No, if you listen to that, it doesn't have words, but it's very like technological.
Yeah.
Like it can just like it can help you focus. Like it gets you into this mindset where you have to be focused. Like there's a really good one. It came out in the early 2000s called Push Universal Nation. Best one.
Well, I think like to kind of bring up a point that Justin made, right, when he was talking, it really depends on your mood, right? And
yeah,
it's weird how, an interesting thing about the word mood, the German word for mood is actually a musical term that they use in terms of like tuning an instrument, right? And if you think about yourself and your body as an instrument, right, your mood kind of tunes the tone to like the song you're creating, which is your life, which is kind of a cool idea to think about, right? And it's really interesting. It's almost like magic when you think about the effect that music has on you, on the body, right? Because don't you sometimes you get goosebumps when you listen to certain songs? How do you explain that? Anybody got
I would only get those type of things, or like when it's like so relatable, like when you listen to the lyrics and it's like very relatable to you.
Yeah.
I get it like when it's like, if it's like a hip hop song in particular, if like the beat is like a perfect beat and the rapper just says something like that, like is like perfect with it. You know what I mean? Like perfect. It's like perfect.
There's something kind of amazing going on because your body responds to it even before your brain does. Right? Especially music like rap where it makes you kind of want to move your head. you start doing that without, you're not analyzing the rap going, ooh, wow, very, he's like, oh, great metaphor here. Right? Your body just kind of responds. So there's almost something kind of spiritual about a human's relationship to music. Which this may seem completely unconnected to the myth of Sisyphus, but it's not. And this is a perfect transition. So let's all pull up that essay.
Which one? The 3-paragraph one, right?
It's the last reading I posted. I'll give you guys a link right now.
It's under assignments, right?
It's under documents.
Okay.
And it says reading number 4. I posted a lot in the documents section, which I'll talk about before the end of our meeting. But let me just pull up the PDF for the reading. This is all we had to do for today.
I want to ask a question.
What's up?
Like when you're writing a compare and contrast essay, so we have to do we compare Buddhism and Hinduism. Like, what do you think is the best? Like, I'm saying, write 5-paragraph essay, go that route. But what do you think? Like, how would you structure it? And like, if you were me.
The first half of what you said broke off. And since your question is only about you in a different class, ask me before I leave.
All right, yeah, I'll ask you before we leave.
All right, does that link work for you guys?
Yeah, it worked.
The long one.
The myth of
Sisyphus. It's a tough
Sisyphus.
one, and it could sound like syphilis if you don't say it slowly. So be careful. And I want you guys, we're going to start off as always with a couple questions. So I'd like you to look up the word myth. Tell me what it means. Define myth. Find the etymology.
Okay, I got the definition.
And then I also, hold on, Rami. You're listening to too much heavy metal, man. It's making you very intense. You need to balance it with a little mellow jazz. And then define absurd. Also find the etymology. And then lastly, find the word hero. Okay, I was just gonna ask. Somebody start giving me some definitions.
I was gonna start with myth, but seems like I'm too energetic listening to.
No, I'm only busting chops, Rami. Give me the definition right now.
A myth is a traditional.
Enter it into the chat. Also.
Damn, somebody took my definition. Shit.
A traditional story. Okay, you know what you can do, Rami? Give us the etymology, because the etymology is even more interesting. Thank you, Ida. Or Ada, I'm sorry.
It's Aida, but it's okay.
Aida? Okay, I'm sorry 2 times.
Yeah.
Okay. So your definition says a traditional story, especially one concerning the early history of a people or explaining some natural or social phenomenon. That's a good one. Rami, give us the etymology.
I'm doing that right now. I'm writing it in the chat.
Okay. Because I think there's some interesting origins of the word, which kind of almost contradict the definition. Stop. My dog is just biting my cat's neck.
Why the hell is he biting the cat's neck?
Hold on, I'll show you. George, you're afraid? You afraid? He's just a maniac.
Like, he's still little though, right?
Yeah, he's a puppy.
So yeah, that's why. Okay,
Rami, good. So it comes from mythos. Well, you're breaking it down. Give us the old meanings. So this is what I found when I look up the word. That there's all these different meanings.
It comes from like a Greek term. It's mythos, like something like that.
Well, when I look it up on etymology online, on Etym Online, it says it also used to mean speech, thought, word, discourse, or saga. Do you guys also find that?
I didn't use etymology.com.
Yeah, this is the best website, is Etym Online. Right? Because Rami, what you did is also important because it shows you where the word comes from, the kind of the genealogy of its cultural elements, but then it also gives you the definitions when and how the definitions have evolved over time, which are interesting, right? Because what Aida shows us is kind of how we all know, or most of us think of the word myth in that sense, right? It's kind of a made up story that tries to explain either something, an aspect of a certain race or an ethnicity of people, right? Like an origin story. But what's really interesting is that it used to just mean speech or even a thought, right? So it kind of shows us that the evolution of even human thinking kind of evolves out of myth, right? Or language evolves out of myth. Right? When did we start using logical thinking as a species? The Enlightenment. You know when that was?
That was like
since the beginning of time, I guess.
No, that was 300 years ago.
Seriously?
So we spent maybe, think about humans, how long we've been humans. That means that we've spent 99.9% of our life as a species engaged in mythical thinking, right? Or poetic language. So the reason why I'm saying this is because stories are important, right? Music is important. Poetics are important, right? They're trying to tell us things about ourselves, about what it means to be human. Right? Why that's important is because if you look at the reading for today, we have a guy named Albert Camus, right? Who is Algerian, writing in the 1940s about a Greek myth from 5,000 years ago, right? And what he's trying to get out of the myth is he's trying to relate it to something in modern life. All right, so that's kind of the context of the essay that we're going to talk about. So let's go and talk about the word absurd. Let me look up. Who gave me a definition for absurd? Anybody? Simone, wildly unreasonable or illogical. That's perfect. And what about the etymology of that word? Let's see what we find. This is interesting. To go back to our idea of mood, it can mean out of tune, discordant, right? In other words, not making sense. Okay, and then lastly, give me a definition for hero.
I found it on etymology for like superhuman, demigod.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting one right there is demigod. Can you talk about that?
Yeah. I mean, I guess in like myths, usually there's like this like superhuman who's the hero, and that kind of goes hand in hand with demigod being like half person, half god. So
Right.
why?
That's perfect. And let's tie that into what Naomi's definition, right? Because she ends it with this idea of noble qualities. Right? Now, let's try to do this. Think about the word hero in the modern sense. What does it mean to be a hero in 2020? What are some noble qualities
I don't know,
you
maybe
should have?
a baby from a burning building, I guess.
So what's that? Sacrifice for danger. Sacrifice.
Cure cancer.
Medical
Breakthrough.
advancements. What else? You guys are really setting the bar high. How do we make a list for yourself if you wanted to be the hero of your own story?
Someone who morally stands out.
Who morally stands out, right? And what might that look like, Justin?
Like I wouldn't say like an outcast, but like just somebody who's maybe has more confidence or more bravery than the next person.
Yeah, right. We don't have dragons to slay in the old sense of the idea, right? So what in the modern context, a hero is somebody that kind of stands out and stands up either for certain morals or certain kind of values, right? Taking a certain kind of action, right? Think about this word together, right? Because this is what Camus, the writer of this essay, uses to describe Sisyphus. He calls Sisyphus an absurd or the absurd hero. Right? So this is a good moment to talk about who Sisyphus is. Who thinks they kind of understand the punishment that Sisyphus has to spend his whole life doing? Can anyone explain it? You just got real quiet. I can hear all of your hearts beating, eyelids blinking. So we have this myth of Sisyphus, right? And if you look at the essay, it opens up. It says the gods had condemned Sisyphus to ceaselessly rolling a rock to the top of a mountain. And then the stone would fall back of its own weight, right? So there's a guy named Sisyphus. This is an old Greek myth. And for some reason, he's punished by the gods to spend all of eternity pushing a rock, a big boulder up a mountain. And then once it gets to the tip of the mountain, it rolls back down to the other side. And then he's got to walk back down to pick it up and do it all over again. And he has to spend not just his life, but eternity doing this, which means forever. Right? So there's all these different reasons in Greek mythology to why Sisyphus is punished. But the underlying idea is that Sisyphus right? And this is another point that Albert Camus makes. Sisyphus is kind of the idea of the modern human, or thinking, the first thinking humans, right? Or in other words, consciousness. Right? Because it says over and over again that Sisyphus is punished by the gods for knowing too much. Right? And humans have this kind of burden of consciousness. Because what do we know that every other animal does not know? Well, many things.
We know we're going to die. The animals don't know.
We know
I was
that
actually
we're
just
going to
watching.
die.
I was watching that on Joe Rogan.
We'll talk about that. Talk about that a little, Rami. What did you hear?
So like what Joe Rogan was explaining, it's like when animals are out in the wild, basically like they don't know. They're just, their main goal is just to survive every day, to eat, drink, hunt, gather, take care of their cubs. They don't think about death. We, on the other hand, we think about that. For example, if you Joe Rogan was explaining his friend was hiking in the mountains in Colorado, and he encountered a mountain lion. In his friend's mind, he says, "This is it. This is it. This is my last breath I'm going to take." But the animal doesn't know that.
Right, like if it wasn't a human the mountain lion was stalking, if it was a deer, the deer just knows there's danger, I have to get out of there.
Yeah.
Right, but that's the easy example. The big reality of consciousness is that we all wake up every morning knowing that our days are numbered. Right, even without seeing the mountain lion. We all have a moment during the day, or during the week, or during a month, or once a year, whenever it is, there's a little thought that creeps up to remind you, I'm going to not exist one day. Right? And what the idea that Camus is trying to talk about in this essay is that it kind of puts us in an existential, let me write this word, crisis. Because once we know we're going to die, the second point or question humans come to, if you're thinking, right, if you're conscious, is what's the point? Right? What is the point of life? Or in other words, what is the meaning? And why this is an interesting question for us, right? Us moderns, because even though some of us in this chat might be religious and come from religious families, the majority of modern people don't consider themselves religious. And if you don't consider yourself religious, you don't have a framework or a meaning, in other words, for life. Because what religious people do is they draw meaning from their religion, right? So Christians, for example, would say the meaning of life is to overcome suffering, and then you're rewarded for that in the afterlife, right? We all kind of know this idea, right? There's a concept that we're told of heaven and hell, and that the more good you do, right, or the better you live, it pays off in another life or in another world, right? So that for thousands of years has justified human existence, or it justifies, more importantly, suffering, right? How do you make a person feel better about their miserable existence, which is most of human history, is miserable, pointless suffering? You tell them that they're going to be rewarded for that suffering, right?
So it gives them something to look forward to.
It gives you something to look forward to, right? how horrible, and this is Sisyphus's, this is his, what he's going through. How horrible is life when you just have to live it and every day is the same and it doesn't seem like there's any reward for your hard work. Or think about that feeling maybe when you were in high school when you did a big project or an assignment and there was no grade for it. Your teacher just made you do it. Right? So there's this concept that there's nothing worse for humans than futile suffering, right? Pointless suffering. And if you have no faith or you don't take meaning from a certain system or religion, then where do you find meaning in life? Maybe one of you can answer that for me. If you don't consider yourself religious, where do you find meaning? Right? Because this is essentially the question that Albert Camus is asking in the myth of Sisyphus. He has an answer. We could talk about it, but if you don't consider yourself religious and you're in this chat, where do you find meaning? What are some things that give your life value? And we can kind of just sit in the awkward silence for a minute.
I'd possibly say through the trauma you go through in life and the lessons that you learn and everything that you pick up from it. So you use it towards your everyday life, and eventually, I guess you'll find your purpose in life or your meaning.
So you would say that the suffering in life is not meaningless if you reflect on it and you can try to learn from mistakes that you might have made that caused the suffering, and that could make you better going forward into the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great system. That sounds like it could work.
But I think that's for anybody, because like we all say if we messed up, like we messed up on a test, then we're gonna figure out, oh, I don't want to be in this bad, embarrassing situation again. They're gonna say, how can I be better? What can I do to be better? How do I prevent that outcome? That's something, I think that's something that I'm religious, but that's something that keeps me up at night. How can I be better? How can I avoid this outcome? How can I do this better? That's probably the one thing that keeps me up.
Progress.
Yeah.
I was watching this interview with this football player, Marshawn Lynch, and so he won like a Super Bowl, but then he also they lost the Super Bowl. Also,
you ever see him play the piano?
Marshawn Lynch?
He's incredible.
I've never seen it, but they lost in that. Remember how they lost in that horrible way, 1 yard line, through an interception? But so he was saying he's actually glad they lost because now he's been through everything. He's lost one, he's won one. It just teaches him a lesson. It's just the failures are good too. They're positive. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We can relate a lot of this to kind of just kind of self-betterment, right? Making yourself better through learning your mistakes. And which is essentially what Camus is saying that's what Sisyphus does, right? Because Sisyphus has this punishment. He has to spend his whole life pushing a rock that's just going to go back down the mountain, right? How does that relate to us? Because we all have to do the same thing. You have to wake up every day to go to school, right? So let's think about it in terms of your own life right now. You're going to spend the next 4 years in college, and then you graduate, you get a degree. So there's the rock on top of the mountain. What happens the next day? Now you're not just a college graduate, you're an unemployed 20-something that has to get a fucking job, right? And now the rock, it starts all over again. You have to walk back down the mountain, and now you have to push it back up again to get a job. And then you get a job, and what happens? The rock goes back down again. And you have to spend every day waking up, brushing your teeth, going to work, doing the same shit you might not enjoy, to come home, to get up, to do it all over again. And then along the way, maybe your boyfriend or your girlfriend leaves you. Maybe you get married. Maybe you get a divorce. And then you get sick along the way. And then after 85 years of hard work, What do you do with that whole life? You just die. And it goes away. So in a sense, we are Sisyphus because we have to continuously pushing this rock over and over again to not take any of that with us. And that can leave somebody feeling really hopeless. And this is where this idea of nihilism comes in, right? If you think of the word annihilation, that word nihilism is in there. It means zero or nothingness, right? And you can see somebody that doesn't have something to live for is kind of on this reckless spiral, and they go downward and things will get progressively worse, right? So what it says about Sisyphus, and I think this is the lesson for us humans, is that what we do in a world where there might not be a God, right? Because that's an even scarier notion if you're not religious, because not only is there might not be a God, but that also might mean that we are completely alone in the universe. Let that sink in for a second. In the vastness of infinite space and time, we might be the only intelligent life form, right? It's really interesting to think about how much we love these alien stories. I think one of the reasons why, because it makes us feel a little better that we're not the only ones aware of how scary and miserable life is. That life is it's a horror show. And if you need a reminder of that, look at nature for a little bit. If you know the average lifespan of like a deer, they live 3 to 5 years. And they die either of starvation, disease, or being eaten alive by a mountain lion or a bear, or hit by a car, right? And compare that to or hunting, which if you think about it in terms of all that is the best way to die if you're a deer. You get shot, you die in 1 second or a couple seconds. But that's the life process for everything other than humans. Humans have been really lucky. We've carved out a nice, comfortable life through civilization, right? But that civilization comes with a burden. The burden is you have to make meaning in your own life. So what Camus says in the myth of Sisyphus is, how do we do that? We do that by finding beauty everywhere. Right? Because there's two sides of this coin. If there is no meaning inherent in life, then how fucking cool is that? Because what that means is I get to make my meaning. In other words, I get to, how do I say this? I get to choose what
about mark your life like a statue?
Yeah, it gives you agency in your life. Because like Justin said, right? My suffering is not pointless. Now I use my suffering. And think about music, what hip hop and rap has done. I would say 100% of rappers come from the worst aspects of life. They come from broken homes. They have every card in life stacked against them. And what do they do with that suffering? They turn it into creative juice. And we have some of the most beautiful music in history, not just rap. Soul music comes from this. The blues comes from this, right? Pain, almost for humans, equals an opportunity for creativity. So it's only pointless if you say it's pointless, right? That's the really cool thing about human life. Because the flip side of that is it's important if you say it's important. And if you can think about it in that way, then you can take every aspect of your life and you can turn it into something special. So waking up in the morning is a gift. Logging on and being able to have a discussion with people in different parts of the country instantly through social media or Zoom is a gift, right? Being able to eat and go to the grocery store, all these little things that we normally take for granted are now the most precious gifts that life has to offer. And that's what's more beautiful than that, because it gives you a reappreciation for everything, and it gives it to you without the assurance of a God, right? Because really, it's 50-50. There could be a God, but maybe there's not. So if there's not, then we have to take double precaution to make sure we live a meaningful life, right? Because you can argue that a religion is almost like it's a safety net, right? It says if I do this and this, then I get this at the end, and it will kind of guarantee you that. And it gives you a certain confidence. But if you're not religious, you have to find that for yourself, which is a lifelong struggle. Right? So it says about Sisyphus that where he gets his joy is when he's walking down to the other side. He looks at the sunset, he appreciates nature, and he knows, and this is also to talk about Marcus Aurelius, that principle of amor fati, loving your fate, no matter what your situation is, and trying to make it a little better every day. Any thoughts or questions?
Would this all like ultimately correlate to like developing a mind of abundance, or just like,
Yeah,
like
we'll
that?
talk about that. What does that mean, developing a mind of abundance? I like that.
Just like always saying like, if you like let's say like you didn't get the job you wanted, like, oh, there's always going to be another job that's going to pick me, where somebody else is always going to want to have me.
Yeah, right. Or to go back to your idea of failure, right? Or, did I do something wrong genuinely? And let me be self-critical right now. Is there something that I maybe did that didn't get me the job that I can work on in the future? Right. And if I can really cross my T's and dot my I's, and I know that I did everything I needed to, then right, that there's something else that I'll get, just not right now. And more importantly, there's something I can learn in this position of not having a job. Right. So yeah, I think that's definitely something like that. You can call it like would you call that a mind of a concept of abundance?
Yeah, just like developing a mind of abundance.
Yeah. It's hard work, right? It's hard not to feel sorry for yourself. Right? It's really easy, especially in today's culture, because you can claim victimhood very easily. But there's a real danger in that victim mentality, right? Because I think, like you said, it ties back to a perspective. And if you can develop a mind of abundance, that's really, when you break it down, it's looking at the world or looking at the glass half full as opposed to half empty. It really just comes down to that kind of simple philosophy. But this is all hard work, right? Think about what Sisyphus does. It's not a little tiny rock he has to carry every day. Sisyphus carries a big, giant boulder, right? That's your life. You all have burdens. Maybe you come from families where there's drug addiction or divorce or something. Everybody has something, right? And it's not a small thing. It might seem small to the outside world, but it's your own boulder, right? So the lesson that Camus tries to say in this essay is that you use that boulder actually as a source of power. All right, I think that's a good place to end it, right? Hopefully that's a lot for you guys to marinate on, to reflect.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
All right, if there's no questions, I'll see you guys next Wednesday.
I'll have my question for you.
Yeah, Rami, just wait till everybody logs off, and then me and you, you can talk to me.
I'm curious. I want to say too, if you don't mind.
Yeah, if anybody has any questions about essay writing or something else, you can stay back and talk to me. If not, I'll see you guys next Wednesday. If you have any questions about the assignments, just email me. Max, I don't know if you saw, I responded to you right here in the chat box before class started.
What would you say?
I just saw your email.
Oh, okay.
So you know what? I'll email you in case you can't find it.
Okay.
All right, but don't worry.
Oh no, I see it. I see it.
Okay, cool. If you have any questions, just talk to me.
Okay.
All right, bye everybody else.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question when everyone's done with it.
Okay, Rami, let's hit you first.
Okay, so for the essay, we have to write like he said, like it's titled like a first reaction paper comparing Hinduism to Buddhism, right? That's my midterm, right? But here's the thing: it's like I got a limit of like three paragraphs or simply a 2-page essay. I wonder how would you set it up if I was limited to that?
Is it a compare and contrast, or you're just comparing the two religions?
It's like I would say it is a compare and contrast, but should I show you like what is expected of it, like on
Yeah,
camera?
send me the prompt or whatever the assignment.
There's the camera right now.
Huh?
I can actually turn the camera and show you.
Okay. Let me take a look.
Rami, when did he post this, by the way? I didn't see it.
I think a couple of days ago.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let me talk to Naomi. What's up with you?
So I got a certain grade on one of your essays, and I didn't understand like what I did wrong. So would it be possible to go like over it? If you
Yeah. Yeah, which one?
The paired discussion, I think.
Okay, let me I'll pull it up and we can do that. Daniel, you also need help with the same religion essay?
Yeah, I was just curious actually because I didn't see this assignment, so I'm kind of curious as to like how you would go about this.
Well, he wants it in 2 pages, 3-4 paragraphs.
Okay, give me 1 second. I'll be right back in 1 minute. We'll go over all of it. Maybe
How are you gonna jam it into 3 paragraphs? That's got to be 3 long paragraphs, then.
Rami, I don't know how. Maybe this. I don't know if you could
Give
comment.
me 1 second and I'll help you.
Yeah, I was thinking like maybe do like 1 paragraph for each religion, and then the final paragraph, I guess, comparing.
Well, like, do you know how like this is how I thought it was gonna be? Like, you write an intro saying like you start off kind of break the ice a little bit. Many people think Buddhism, Hinduism is the same thing.
Yeah,
it's almost that's what I thought, but I didn't think he was gonna limit us to 3 paragraphs or 2 pages.
I mean, I don't. Where do you see this, by the way? Because I can't find it.
Okay, go to the class and go to assignments and scroll all the way at the bottom.
Oh, okay.
Posted it on the fast. I didn't see it until after today.
Oh shoot! All right, that's pretty close by. All right. Yeah, I didn't see it either.
But how can you jam 3-4 paragraphs into 1,000 words?
Honestly, this is how I'm thinking. I'm gonna do like 1 paragraph per religion, and then I'm gonna talk about the differences at the end.
Does he want 1,000 words? What does he want?
He wants 3 paragraphs, I think, right? That's what he said.
He says the option is your limit to the paper is at least 1,000 words.
Oh, wait. Or
your
3
limit.
paragraphs. Oh, I'm gonna do 3 paragraphs. All right, that doesn't seem.
Yeah, just 3 paragraphs describing, going down, and really hitting the points.
Yeah,
but if you look at his 3 points, it's a lot.
I mean, honestly, I guess you're just gonna have to write like OD long paragraphs. I'm not sure.
I mean, if it's double spaced, then I'm good. Like, double space is gonna help you through that.
Oh no,
but if
I always double space my words.
Well, we have him in an hour, so we can literally.
Yeah, like I want to find out about this. Like, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna draft it up.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know. Let's ask him in class today.
Yeah, let's all 3 ask, because then we're gonna get a straight answer.
All right, now
He says a limit
of
it
first, and then I can help these 2 gentlemen.
Okay.
Let me see.
Oh, I didn't get a grade. I'm not sure if you graded all of them or not. I'm just curious.
I thought I did, but maybe I didn't.
Is it in the grade section of Blackboard of the class?
It should be.
Go to grades and you'll see everything.
Yeah, no, it says it says it's upcoming right now for all of them.
That's weird. I'll take a look. Let me
all right, thanks.
This thing.
When are you gonna grade the annotation one?
I thought I did already. I didn't?
Yeah, I didn't get a grade on that either.
Okay, let me did you guys upload them into the assignment center or where?
Oh no, I think
I
I
up
uploaded Blackboard. And I think you said that was fine, so I just
I
left.
did here. Well, I did for extra. I uploaded it in the discussion board because
Yeah,
Me too.
right. Okay. Then yeah, so I have the grade, it's just not on Blackboard. That's the thing.
Can
Oh,
you tell us what we got or we don't know?
Yeah, you
We
guys
don't
both
know.
got on the annotations, you guys got 20s. You did
oh,
Okay, 20s out of 20s. I know the paired reading. I got a 50 out of 50.
I
Yeah.
didn't get a grade on anything. Is that but I'm also uploading everything to the discussion board. That's why.
That's why. So it's not going directly in the Blackboard. I have the grades. So
Oh, okay.
if you want to just upload them into the assignments, then I can grade them and it goes right in the Blackboard.
Oh yeah, sure. I'll do that just so I can like actually see my grades then.
Okay.
Mhm.
What was the problem with me?
I'm trying to find it right now.
Oh.
Can you, Naomi, hold on, let me see. Which is it, the extended response?
No, that's due tonight.
Right.
Yeah, no, the paired discussion, the one before this.
Let me find yours. It probably was just short. What did you get on it?
Let me check.
Yeah, right. So you said, for instance, like your part two, your responses need to be like a little longer. The first one, you just has the text that has a critical problem as a piece of chalk. You got to state what the critical problem is.
So is there anything I could do to just like fix that or no? Or should
Yeah,
I
just go into more depth. I would look at part two and just see how you can answer these. So number one, I would say you have to tell me specifically what the critical problem is.
I'm in class. Okay, I'm in class right now. Okay, and
That's probably it. The rest of it looks good to me. So if you change
So
that,
just the
resubmit it. Just change it and then resubmit it. You should be fine.
so the critical problem was the only thing that I have to state.
Yeah, that's all I see.
What is
Well, so for number three, tell me why you agree.
Oh, okay.
Right? So you always got to always explain your position.
Okay. Well, how would you like say how am I supposed to understand what a critical, like the word critical, like what does that really mean?
Well, what's the main problem that Chesterton is that you think he's facing? Right? It's apparently the fact that he's missing chalk, but what it really is that he has a failure of perspective in the beginning. Right? Because what does he
I can
realize
help
at the
her
end?
if she wants because I got a 50 out of 50 with it.
Yeah, he realizes at the end that he's sitting on all this chalk. Right? That he just
Well,
wasn't he was looking at his situation the same way the woman was looking at the paper. Right? So
He's very OCD. Like you could tell he's OCD because with OCD people, I'm sort of OCD. Like you like to use the same things. It's like, say if it's like, I don't know, if it's the same like pencil, it's exactly the same. You would want the other one you're using because like it just been there with you longer and just kind of like I don't know how to explain it, but it's just like you've used it so many times. You get what I mean?
Right. But what you're kind of using OCD as like a negative. I think in a sense it could be a power because it gives you a certain focus or
Well, here's the
detail.
thing though. Like what I said was like the quote, like when I said about the OCD part, is that like when he forgot it and like he has like he didn't want to open his perspective up to other kinds of chalk, other colors. It took him. So like he had to kind of like fight with himself, look inside himself to actually kind of like say, hey, why do I got to use the same piece of chalk?
Right. And that's what leads to the epiphany.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. So Naomi, you just have to do that. If you tighten up the first question and then you explain yourself on 3, you should be okay.
Okay, and when do you want it by?
Just as soon as you can get it to me.
Okay, so I'll do it. I'll submit it with the essay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
All right. So read me the
prompt.
Yeah, because I couldn't see it.
Okay, so let me go and pull it up on the assignments. You still there, Neil?
Yeah,
No,
he's
here.
Okay, so kindly review the criteria for assessing your reaction paper in the syllabus. You will limit your paper to at least 1,000 words or 3 paragraphs or simply 1 to 2 page essay. Besides our textbook, you will need to use other credible sources to back up your ideas. The papers, yada, 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 to do then. But he wants us to compare Hinduism and Buddhism. So like we got a few options to do it in. You can limit yourself to, you have to limit yourself into 1,000 words, or you can write 3 paragraphs or a 1 to 2 page like essay.
Right.
Like, how would you set this up? Like, if he's like saying, introduce your essay by describing the founders, the motives, compare the beliefs, and which 2 religions would you think of ideologies than the religion, and which 2 can you easily relate to in your own religion?
Oh, is that what those are questions he poses?
Yeah. He posted that.
Okay, so you do it like this. You do first paragraph, intro to the religions. Right? Mm-hmm. Hinduism was founded by such and such. Buddhism was founded by such and such. This is kind of the 1 sentence or 2 sentence idea that they're both espousing, right? Hinduism is the belief of such and such. Buddhism says this. Second paragraph, I would do.
Well, he wants 3 paragraphs. I'm thinking like he says you could do 3 paragraphs or simply do it in 1 to 2 pages.
Right. Right. So, I mean, you don't have to do this in terms of paragraphs. You could do like the first section is the intro. So however many paragraphs you want to do introducing them, I do maybe 1 to 2. You do 1 on each, or you do a half on each, right? So 3 sentences on Buddhism, 3 sentences on Hinduism. You do a second section comparing the religion. These are what they both have in common. This is what's a little different. And then the third section will just be relating it or contrasting it, in your case, to something like Islam, right?
Yeah.
And I would pick like 2 elements of your religion and their religion to kind of contrast.
Mm-hmm. So,
right. So one you can do right away is Islam is really against idol worship.
Mm-hmm.
Right. The appearance of idols. Hinduism, it's all about the idols.
Mm-hmm.
I would do it like that. Really, don't overcomplicate it.
Okay.
And like, what would you say? Like, how many words should we target? Like,
well, he said 1,000 words. He doesn't really want more than that.
He says the limit. You will limit your paper to at least 1,000.
And 1,000's nothing. That's 2 pages.
Yeah.
So really, all he's asking you is just you want like a paragraph on explaining very surface level concepts.
Mm-hmm.
You're not quoting. You're not going into too much detail.
Yeah.
He wants a kind of a general. He wants you to kind of express.
Just grab the general idea.
Just demonstrate that you know the basic principles and what's different about Hinduism from Islam or Buddhism or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And like, if I was going to quote something from like a textbook or something like that, the correct citation would be put the quotation marks. Then I would do this whole parenthesis thing where I put the author's name, the date, all this kind of stuff. Or what would I do?
On the assignments, if you want to look at mine for like a reference.
Yeah. If it's a longer quote, so like in Hinduism, if you're gonna quote, the main text is the Bhagavad Gita, right? That epic poem. If you're gonna do if you're quoting that, and it's gonna be longer than
the author of that text, right?
Yeah, I think you would just say like as the Bhagavad Gita states, and then you would quote. But if it's a longer quote, if it's more than 4 lines, you have to put it in like the middle of the essay. It gets a little complicated.
I just have
Well, because like I was taught this in high school where they told us so I don't like have a plagiarism issue, like because we used to turn it on turnitin.com. You put the quotation marks, then you do the parentheses, then with the author's name, the date, the article's name.
Yeah, So if you're let's say you're quoting the Bhagavad Gita and it's more than 4 lines, it would look like this. As it states in the.
I also have another like structure question. Could I do like comparing like one paragraph for one religion, another paragraph for the next one, and then the last paragraph I can do like actually like do the differences and similarities in that last paragraph?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I think I got it then. Thanks for
Yeah,
the
you
help.
Yeah, I think I got it with your
in the bag, and then you put comma, quote,
comma, quote, parentheses, then
right? And then the period is after the quotation.
at the end.
So for like the intro, you would just like you would break that up into 2 separate paragraphs, correct? Or just do one big one comparing the 2 of them, like a nerd.
I like to be really organized, so I would stick to Daniel's method of doing one very small paragraph introducing one religion and then another one introducing the other one.
And then have like a bigger one comparing the 2, right?
And then have a bigger one comparing the 2, and then one last.
So basically,
one comparing
two comparing the 2 of them, basically.
Yeah, just think about this. Think about paragraphs as like their own ideas. You want to have them separate. So if you're going to talk about Hinduism, you don't want to mix it up with Buddhism unless the whole paragraph is about the mixture of the 2.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Like you don't want to talk about Hinduism for 3 sentences and then in the middle of the same paragraph switch to Buddhism.
Yeah.
And have like and
you're
maybe
better off
like,
separating them.
And put like 6 to 7, like 6 to 8 sentences for like each one. But then like
you could even have 4. You can have 4 sentences if you're gonna do right because
you
want it under 1,000
paragraph. So we
yeah.
should be fine. All right.
You guys can send me rough drafts if you want. I'll take a look.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Take care.
Appreciate it. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.